The Berlin Wall. The wall that divided a city and a world for 28 years. A concrete wall split one city into two worlds. On one side, freedom and democracy. On the other, communism and control. Families were torn apart. Lives were lost trying to cross. This is the story of the Berlin Wall. After World War II, Germany was divided between the victorious Allied powers. The Soviet Union controlled the East, while the United States, Britain, and France controlled the West. Berlin, deep inside Soviet territory, was also divided. By 1961, nearly 2.5 million East Germans had fled to the West, most of them young, educated, and skilled. The communist government was losing its best people. In the early hours of August 13, 1961, East German troops began stringing barbed wire across the border between East and West Berlin. Concrete barriers followed. Streets were torn up. Buildings were sealed. And families who had lived within walking distance of each other were suddenly separated by an impenetrable barrier. The wall would eventually stretch 155 kilometers, with guard towers, anti-vehicle trenches, and a death strip where guards had orders to shoot anyone trying to escape. At least 140 people were killed trying to cross the Berlin Wall. Some were shot by border guards. Others died in desperate attempts to tunnel under it, fly over it in hot air balloons, or crash through it in vehicles. Each death was a reminder of the cruelty of a system that had to imprison its own people to survive. One of the most powerful moments came in 1987, when US President Ronald Reagan stood at the Brandenburg Gate and delivered his famous challenge. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. 2 years later, the wall came down. On November 9, 1989. After weeks of growing protests and political changes across Eastern Europe, the East German government announced that citizens could freely cross the border. Thousands poured through the checkpoints. People climbed on top of the wall, embraced strangers, and began tearing it apart with hammers and picks. The images were broadcast around the world. The Cold War was ending. Germany was officially reunited on October 3, 1990. Today, little remains of the Berlin Wall, but its memory lives on. It stands as a powerful symbol of the human desire for freedom and the failure of any system that tries to contain it. This is History Nook. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world.